Valley. So as we head into the overnight hours, expect conditions to be a little bit better within our air quality, but that's not going to be the case for tomorrow morning. And temperatures, unfortunately, will still be a little bit on the warmer side and definitely above average for this time of year. So morning lows will only drop into the mid and upper 60s across the Rio Grande Valley, and our winds will still be a little bit elevated coming in from that southerly direction, but they won't be as strong as yesterday. And the downward trend of these gusty winds will continue, especially for tomorrow. So that's how conditions will be much better air quality wise, but not temperature wise, because temperatures will still be very hot across the Rio Grande Valley. So the high for Brownsville will be 89 degrees, Wesco 92, McAllen 95, and Rio Grande City as well. Now remember, tomorrow in the morning we are going to start off with a light haze, and then throughout the afternoon we'll start to have the haze clear out and we'll be left with a good amount of sunshine. But remember, we are tracking yet another cold front that's going to arrive Saturday that's going to cool us down and bring our temperatures a little bit closer to average for us. So we'll be done with these hot and muggy conditions for a short time, because unfortunately these cooler and nicer conditions are not going to last. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at future track. Now this front is right here, continuing to push further south, but not to the Rio Grande Valley, just affecting areas such as Houston and Corpus, but it's going to mainly stay to our north and east. But this is the front that's going to impact us for the weekend. So Friday, 5 p.m., that front's going to be making its way through the panhandle of Texas, continuing to push further east, and then eventually past the Rio Grande Valley throughout the day Saturday. And then behind that front, cooler and drier air will start to filter in and push out that warm air. But this front, even though it's technically a strong one, it's not going to bring any rain for us. It's mainly going to stay to our north and east within Louisiana, Mississippi. They're going to get a little bit more rain activity, but for us, we'll just have our winds shift into that northerly direction and that cooler and drier air start to filter in. And then after that, a high pressure system will start to build in within the panhandle of Texas, and that's what's going to help keep our winds coming in from that northerly direction. So for Sunday, there is a concern of a fire weather threat just because of conditions being really dry across the Rio Grande Valley, which they have been for several weeks already, and the less humid conditions across the Rio Grande Valley. So no outdoor burning is recommended for Sunday. But then Monday, our winds will slightly shift back into an easterly and then eventually a southerly flow as we head into this upcoming work week. And that's exactly how we're going to be warming up. So here's a closer look at these next couple of days. Very warm and muggy for tomorrow. Temperatures will still be in the 90s for Saturday, but then once that front passes through, conditions will be pretty pleasant, especially for the second half of the weekend and into Monday. Temperatures will be in the low 70s, but then eventually we'll return into the 80s and then the 90s. All that and more coming up in just a couple minutes.